Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Alpha 3.0 is now available on the PTU to first wave testers, RSI subscribers and concierge backers. It does not contain the full 3.0 experience, however, it's more of a wider stress test for the servers and clients for optimization, stability, player concurrency and balance. The first PTU patch is currently mainly focused on testing the Delta Patcher, traversal, ship spawning, the air traffic control system, quantum travel, afterburners, shopping, fuel balance, missions, the star map, and core combat. There is a load more features in 3.0 that are still being tweaked and fixed, and even more that will be made available later in other PTU patches for 3.0. Another major focus is kind of expect changing player server caps throughout the patches for 3.0 and future ones, ranging from 24 players to 128 players to more. They've already been testing 128 players in servers relatively successfully. So what is actually in this first wave PTU? What are the major changes and additions? What's immediately obvious is ships and weapons are now different. So SCM speeds have been upscaled, so ships have a lot more velocity to play with. Weapons have been rebalanced and tweaked. Combat and movement is kind of like a whole new game. We also have a lot more in the way of graphics and game options now, so we can change lots of different graphic settings, lots of different game options, and customize our experience a lot more. Interaction and inner thought. To interact with items in a shop, your ship, cockpits, doors, you can now hold F in front of the item you want to interact with. You'll get a contextual menu, and then you can use your mouse to left click to choose actions, or via the mouse wheel to choose exactly what you want to do with that item or door or whatever. When in a cockpit, you can do various interactions, including turning your ship on and off, powering various systems, turning little bits and bobs on, but the most important one is flight ready mode, which will make your ship, as the name suggests, flight ready. This is hotkeyed by default to F5, and most of the functionality of cockpits is hotkeyed as well, so you don't have to use the inner thought clicky clicky if you don't want to, although it's more immersive and you can do some cool stuff with it. Holding right mouse button while in inner thought enters into a focus mode. The camera rotates and zooms into the cursor's location and puts it into the center of the screen. Afterburner, there's lots of changes there. It now has two modes, and you can use it in SCM mode as normal, but if you travel in a straight line at your maximum afterburner speed, and you're not moving from side to side at all, then you'll go into afterburner cruise mode, which is additionally fast, and then you can actually release the afterburner key once in that cruise mode, and you will retain your speed. You're in super cruise or cruise mode idle, as long as you don't maneuver. If you maneuver, you'll go back towards your SCM speed. Landing and takeoff at public facilities and stations now take place through the ATC or air traffic control system. When close to a landing pad, you will use your comms menu from your Mobi glass to request a landing by pushing the hail button. The ATC should then assign you a pad location you're going to need to request to take off in some locations. At the moment, that's Levski, which will literally open the bay doors for you to leave. You can, however, land pretty much anywhere else you want on moons, derelicts, outposts without these steps. It's just for public zones that you have to have that takeoff and landing through the ATC. To quantum travel to destinations now, you're going to open up your Mobi Glass and use the Star Map app, and then select a destination. Whether or not an object can be selected for a quantum travel destination is determined by its gravitational value. So the larger the object is, the further away you can detect it. Large objects with small objects in orbit around them will drown out detection capabilities at long ranges, meaning that you will not be able to travel from point A to B at all times, but instead you might need to go into the orbit of a larger body to detect the destinations from that orbit. So, for example, to get to a station which is orbiting a moon that orbits a planet, you might have to go to the planet, then the moon, then the station. Once you have a destination selected, you can select destination on your Mobi Glass to bring up a quantum travel target, align with the quantum travel target, and then press B to travel there. There's also a short range quantum travel for moving around different orbital points from moons and small planetary bodies. Quantum travel speeds and spooling, as well as cooldown times, are variable based on the size and quality of the drive. breathing and stamina. So oxygen and its supply are now very important. Space, the moons of Crusader, Levski surface, and some other locations are very dangerous unless you're wearing a pressure suit and have oxygen. You're going to consume oxygen when you're wearing a helmet with a pressure suit on in areas that don't have adequate oxygen supplies. When you're in a station or an area with a breathable atmosphere, your oxygen will automatically refill. There is a little bit of a buffer time when you run out of oxygen, as long as you have a suit on and helmet on and your suit's sealed, but you will die very quickly without any oxygen or when exposed to space without a suit. Stamina and heart rate play a part too. The more you're doing, if you're running, jumping, wearing heavier armor, when moving, the faster your oxygen is going to deplete. Your heart rate will also climb when active. Exert yourself too much and it can affect your sight, aim. It can restrict action, so you might not be able to run or jump, or even cause you to hyperventilate in extreme circumstances. There are also now status effects and movement penalties for damaged limbs. Airlocks and doors are also now important. Doors can be locked and blown off in ships. Doors left open or blown off will mean that oxygen will kind of normalize between those two areas. If it's space, then you'll want to wear a helmet, otherwise you will suffocate again. They have added the foundation of a new hint system. This is as close as we get to an in-game tutorial at the moment, but it does provide useful information about what you can do in the verse and buttons to press on occasion as you're walking around. They have also added a new group or party command. Players can get into a party, and then when the leader enters /party launch, one word, into the chat window in game, a notification to each party member will be sent out when the leader enters an instance, which is cool, and they can accept or ignore that. If the server doesn't have enough space for that full party, all the players in the party will be put back into a matchmaking service and then find another server that is appropriate. We have seen the first explorable planetary services as well with this PTU. 3 moons, Yela, Daymar, Selin, as well as the mining planetoid Delamar. So each planetary body has a unique atmosphere, composition, pressure, gravity, as well as a variety of surface outposts and derelict ships to explore, many tied to the new mission system. There's also that very big derelict, and if you don't want to know what that is, hold your ears closed for a second, because it is a javelin. I think we knew it was a javelin when we saw it. But, you know, it's around. Have a look for it. Each outpost is unique and has its own power system, oxygen supply, many with usable kiosks and landing pads with associated ASOP terminals. Planetary bodies have also rotational motion, as well as dynamic day and night cycles because of that, which is awesome. Levski is a base built into a rock on Delmar, an asteroid hidden deep in an asteroid belt. Levski has a choice of numerous shops spread across multiple floors. Many missions will be available, both legal and illegal there. NPCs are also going to be walking about their daily lives in all of the major landing zones too. Characters and ships are persistent, sort of. So the persistent state is now updated every few minutes, and when you log out, you'll log back on with your ship and items there, though there are some bugs with this at the moment, as you can probably expect for first wave PTU. After death, you'll respawn in the station that you last visited, last major landing zone you were at, basically. With insurance, at any point you're able to claim a replacement ship through the ship selection terminals. When you make a claim, you will pay an initial percentage cost of the ship's price as a deductible. There will be an additional multiplier for each previous claim in the past 24 hours. Once the deductible is paid, the ship will be processed and delivered to a station where the claim was made. Processing time will vary depending on the size of the ship. Eventually that will be rarity and other stuff will be involved there as well. You can also pay additional fees to expedite the processing of that to basically get your ship quicker. Kiosks. These can be found at various stations and landing zones. You are able to purchase or sell cargo items, commodities, and as well as services such as repair, refuel, and restocking at certain stations. The intention here is that you have separate inventories at each station and major landing zone. So kiosks will be able to interact with items that are local to that shop's location. The kiosk will be able to see, manipulate any cargo, loadout, or inventory of these local elements. By default, the kiosk will show everything you have access to in that location, but will also be able to drill down to facilitate any specific ship, cargo manifest, or station storage. There's also the first implementation of cargo. Some items are transportable in small, portable 0.5 meter boxes. You actually be able to grab them and move them. They can also be bought and sold at vendors, and you'll see them around Stanton's system racks, outposts, and procedurally generated on planet surfaces in certain situations. They're also generated if you destroy or you see a cargo carrying ship destroyed. 0.5 meter boxes can be lifted and moved. There are also 1 SCU boxes which can't be lifted or moved. Ships will have cargo grids set up inside them that govern how cargo is placed and secured within it. Placing 0.5 meter boxes within a cargo grid will auto-align and will consider that secured in the ship. Loose items can be placed inside the cargo grid as well, and will also be added to the ship's manifest, which you can interact with, but will not align like cargo boxes do. Items placed outside of the grid will not be in the ship's manifest. Items can be taken from one ship's hold to another and carried and moved around and that sort of stuff, so just bear that in mind. You can also buy and sell cargo through market vendors. 1 SCU crates, which are going to be full of a single commodity, so you can't mix commodities in crates. They can be sold at vendors. 0.5 meter boxes the player discovers or recovers can also be sold at those vendors. Commodities can be bought and sold in selected spots, and they will have varying prices based on where you sell them, and players will just basically walk up to a kiosk to initiate an interaction. Only the stock the vendors buy and sell will be listed, and the prices they want for each of those listed items that they actually want or will trade in. There is a whole host of gear to buy in the shops now. New items including clothing, armor, weapons, components, as well as Dumper's Depot, shops being added to major locations. The mission system has been revamped with new missions, lots of variety, and various ones from the mission givers, Ruto and Miles Eckhart. Missions have many modular variants and types now as well, including lawful and unlawful versions, and many can be done in cooperation with other players. Some variants will require the player to have a certain kind of reputation, whether that's lawful or unlawful, or to have talked to other mission givers before. Missions include delivery, deploy, recovery, AI bounty hunts, AI assassination, collection, waste disposal, patrol missions, derelict investigation, and escorts as well. The Item 2.0 system has been implemented for ships now, including the following: power. So this includes the ability to control how much power is generated by power plants and distributed to other systems that use it. Heat. This includes the ability to monitor how much EM and IR a ship is generating, and then the ability to temporarily reduce the IR. Shields. This includes the ability to monitor and adjust shield strength and repair behavior, as well as adjust power usage and performance. New ships and vehicles that have been added, all of them are actually in that we expected from 3.0 in this current PTU. So we've got the Constellation Aquila, the Prospector, the Nox, the Dragonfly, the Saber Raven, the Urza Rover, as well as the reworks of the Aurora, Cutlass, and Gladius. All the ships and all the 2.6.3 previous patch ships are fireable, but some are going to get some extra polish and work, and as we go forward, expect lots of extra little bits for them. They have added hit reactions, damage, and emergency interior states, as well as the compressed landing gear system too, which is pretty cool when you see them on planets. Something else that's pretty cool on planets is the new added Gravlev system for the hover bikes. So the Nox and the Dragonfly have that hovering system rather than the wheels that the Urza has. Distortion damage saw a huge rework and will continue to get more as we go forward. Distortion weapons, be they fields or projectile weapons, will deal damage to power plants and power, leeching them effectively from other systems, and we'll talk more about that in the future. Star Marine has seen some additions as well, with Heavy Outlaw, the Slaver set of armor, and Heavy Marine armors, oxygen capsules, and they've also added the bearing P8 SC SMG. There are a whole host of other little bits and bobs that went into the current PTU, but we will keep on seeing some more iterations of this before it goes live, and between now and the next couple of weeks, I suspect we'll see quite a few little PTU updates, and we'll cover them here. There is a lot more 3.0 content, balance, polish, and more to be added before it goes live, but we should see more and more players added to those PTU waves. The user interface, insurance, persistence, internal ship docking, and the comm system all do require some key elements to be worked on as well, and before they can kind of push forward to live. And I'm uncertain how many players will be in the server instance for a live build. So obviously as many as CIG can get, but it's looking possible that we might see 128 or more in each server instance now, which would be pretty cool. I shall keep up with the patch updates and get some gameplay videos and look at all the different ships and gameplay that 3.0 has to offer over the next few days. Every month, we have a giveaway for a ship. For November, it's a massive Pioneer base building ship donated by our featured org, the Matadors. Links below if you're looking to join a outlaw group that's active now and going to be active in 3.0. To have a chance to possibly win that, all you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during the month of November, and then you can possibly win. Woo! Any questions for me about the PTU, about 3.0 in general, about Star Citizen development, or anything else really, just chuck them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them, or someone clever from the community will. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you're interested in becoming one, then you can find the links to Patreon down below, as well as everything else we talked about. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse.